Well, g'day and welcome to Work Gateways. My name is Quinn, and today I'm super excited to welcome Alex Wraith. He's from a fantastic company called Ameter Recruitment, and the reason why I'm so excited to have him on is because he's actually an engineer himself, and he's going to be talking about engineering recruitment. Ameter is a company that has offices all around the world, and they're excellent at placing people in the UK, but also around the world. But I'll let you talk a little bit about that, Alex. Welcome, great to have you on. Super excited to talk to you.
Thank you very much, Quinn. Really good to be on. Very pleased to have a chance to talk about engineering here in the UK, the recruitment market here in the UK. Yeah, you're quite right. We got a real track record of working with candidates from overseas, in particular from Australasia, and yeah, really keen in these buoyant market conditions to be engaging with those people who want to come and enjoy some time here.
Yeah, awesome. It's just such a fantastic opportunity just to find out all about how the market works, how to make the most of the opportunity if you're coming from overseas. Um, so tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your background and how did you end up in recruitment?
Yeah, how I ended up in recruitment. Well, I was a structural engineer first. Did civil engineering, then did structures. I actually went to a company for an interview as a candidate, as a structural engineer, and they thought I might make a good recruiter. And a few conversations and interviews later, I was an aspiring trainee. And 11 years later, I'm still here, recruiting principally structural engineers, but across the consulting engineering market, and mostly in the UK. But of course, a lot of British consultancies are doing a lot overseas. So we, as you say, we've got our office network, who are servicing all of those clients, and yeah, some great opportunities for structural engineers and all disciplines of engineers at the moment. Absolutely. And Amida itself, I mean, we're about half the companies in London, where I think a lot of overseas candidates perhaps are looking first is London. We do cover the whole of the UK. I mean, I'm personally very involved in the southwest and Wales, but London itself, of course, is red hot. And many of my colleagues in the London office, probably about a 50-50 split. I would say about half of them, 20 or so, are actually Australians and New Zealanders. The MD himself's a New Zealander. And so we've got lots of first-hand experience in the company of making the move. And yeah, we do a massive amount of connecting. And I guess we do a lot of connections through referrals, guys we've placed 10 years ago, who've got that network. But yeah, we're always really keen to talk to new talent and people who want to come and be here. And now is a really good time.
Yeah.
Really good time.
Wow. So things have seemed to have really turned around in recent months, or has it
I
been
think
a steady demand
yeah,
always?
the last couple of years, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously it was a tough times through 2008, 2009, and onwards. But I think a lot of our bigger clients who compete very well internationally, they maintain their position throughout those tough times. There were other businesses that perhaps were more exposed, maybe because they were working narrower sectors or geographies. But it was, of course, a tough time. But coming out of that, all of our clients are showing really healthy growth in great market conditions. I think the whole industry's become leaner as a result of the hard times, and has sought new markets as well, and is competing even better internationally. So I think if you come to the UK at the moment, you can expect to work on iconic projects here at home. So, for example, we've got clients working on Premiership football stadiums, Rugby World Cup venues, which is, of course, later this year. We've got big redevelopments, regenerations, the rail infrastructure. We've got huge projects like Crossrail going on at the moment. We've got the electrification of the railway. So there's just a host of projects at home, both in buildings and infrastructure. But internationally, you can expect to be working on. I mean, the Middle East is a bit of a hotbed. We've got
huge projects
at the moment. I'm recruiting on a 55-story tower out there right now. We're recruiting a team of infrastructure guys who are working on a new city in Saudi, in Jeddah. So there's some incredible work that's being delivered from the UK.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah, I think that's relatively new, isn't it? It used to be more, the work was coming domestically, and now it seems far more international. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think there's probably a greater proportion of the work was domestic. Yeah, whereas now we're seeing more and more, and just real diversity, and real diversity from business to business. Of course, we work with a lot of different clients who are competitive in different sectors, and who have different, different values and focus as a business. So there really is something for everybody at the moment. And as I say, whether it's buildings or infrastructure you want to work on, and whether you're a structural engineer or a civil engineer or a mechanical engineer or an electrical engineer, there's great opportunities to deploy your skills, and of course sample life here and in relatively nearby countries. Explore everything that's within an hour or two on the plane out of London or Bristol or wherever you're based.
Absolutely. Yeah, and when you talk about where a lot of these companies are based, is it sort of the southeast, or I know that used to be traditionally London and then in the Greater London, so around the sort of M25, so you could easily get into London. But I understand now it's sort of more, in addition to that, you've got the bigger cities. Is that so? Bristol.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, London is the biggest hub, of course, but we've got we've got huge centres in Bristol, which is in the southwest of England, in Birmingham, in Manchester, in Leeds, in Cardiff, which is the Welsh capital, if you like. We do a little bit north of the border in Edinburgh, but the major cities, most of our clients are well represented in the major cities. Mm-hmm. London probably has a greater critical mass of the nice little boutique firms who are, I guess, again, just because there's more people there, you get more offshoots from the big brands, more guys setting up new businesses, and so there's some really nice little boutiques in London. But we have them in Bristol and Cardiff as well. It's just a great market. I think across the board, as I say, we're needing talented people.
So all industries, like you mentioned, civils. Would that include, water engineers and design infrastructure, like the whole gambit?
Yeah, absolutely. So development infrastructure. Highways, civil structures like bridges, lots going on there, particularly, say, with the rail sector as well as the highway sector being busy. Building structures, building services consultancy, say the water sector. So it's really very broad at the moment. It's across the board. For good people who've got the right ethic, the opportunities are there at the moment. Really are.
Speaking of right ethic, what do they think of, Aussies and Kiwis and people from overseas?
Generally speaking, Aussies and Kiwis and others from overseas have done very, very well. We've had great feedback from our clients over the last 11 years or so. I mean, I was placing structural engineers because that was my narrow specialisation. I started out from Australia and New Zealand in particular with my clients in the southwest of England back then, and great feedback. Some of those guys are still here now. 2-year trips turned into lifelong trips, but great feedback. No, generally really like them. Obviously some good quality degrees which are recognised over here with our professional institutions. So many of the guys and girls who studied in Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and other countries can work towards chartership here, which is recognised back home in those countries as well. We have reciprocal agreements with those countries, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked a lot about engineers. What about the technicians? So, say CAD designers and people like that. Are they in similar
Equally,
demand?
equally, really good demand. Yeah, really good demand. I mean, we're again across all the sectors we've mentioned, and particularly, I mean, we're seeing there's an acute shortage of Revit structure technicians. So technicians that have got good experience in Revit structure, maybe anything from a year or more, can charge a premium for their time because there's a shortage at the moment. Microstation is something we see in the rail sector. I know on the civil side, I see quite a lot of candidates from Australasia who have used 12D, which again is used by some of our clients over here. But no, really healthy demand. But again, be coming over with the right attitude and the right ethic, you can really get the most out of the experience. And certainly there's an opportunity for you, definitely.
And tell us, so if somebody was to just come over and they had, let's say a couple of years of great experience, what sort of time frames are we looking at to actually get a job, and how does that work?
Well, I think we can almost line it up now. I think the important thing is to connect with the right AMIDA consultant early in the process. I think as early as possible. And I'd probably start marketing. For example, if I was talking to a structural engineer, I'd get as much information as I could up front. I think if we've got a project portfolio that shows potential employers exactly what they've done, what they've delivered to date, and that gives then the potential employer a good idea of what they might be getting, together with some references. Then I think we can really give that a push a month or so, maybe 2 months before the candidate is arriving. And we can line up Skype interviews before they arrive. And some clients, I mean, I've actually been placing candidates before they've arrived recently through Skype interviews. But sometimes it's beneficial to actually wait till you arrive. You might decide that maybe we can line up 3 or 4 interviews before you get here, but then you actually go and have a second interview face to face, and perhaps that gives you the best opportunity, and clearly it gives the employer the best selection opportunity, but gives you the best. You can actually meet the people and feel the office and get a stronger feel for the role. Depends what you want to do, but yeah, we can line up before you get here. The important thing is to connect early, and obviously if we've got a date in the diary for arriving, we can all work towards that.
So, like from the time that they land on the ground, could they potentially be working the following week? Is that sort of what you?
Yeah,
That's the sort of
I
idea.
mean, if we lined it up before they arrived, they could be landing and starting literally the next day. Or we could line it up. We could line up some interviews for the week they arrive, and then they could be starting a job, the following Monday or whatever.
And what about the type of, the amount of experience that the person's got? What would be the sort of minimum that you would like to see? I think, as I understand it, qualifications obviously are important, but probably more important is some experience. You don't really want to be competing with the other graduates that are coming out.
You don't. No, I think that there is. You're quite right. I think anyone who's got, I think for an engineer, 12 months experience would be kind of the minimum. Demand is much greater for people with perhaps 3, 4, 5 years experience. And maybe seniors, people who are chartered or just chartered or approaching chartership, maybe practicing as senior engineers. But anyone in that grad plus 1 year through to senior, there's very high demand for those people. And on the technician front, I think you probably realistically need 4 or 5 years, technical experience in order to be very valuable from day one. But if you've got maybe less than that, but you've got some of the shortage software skills like the Revit structure or the 12D, that might enable you to move sooner. I would say if you're keen to do it, connect.
Yeah.
let's have a chat, see if we can do something now. If not, we can give you some advice about, and we can revisit it in the future.
Yeah, and I would say it's really up to the if you're thinking of wanting to come across, ask the question. Like, I think it's a great question to ask. Look, is this enough experience? Um, yeah, I think. So in terms of the types of employment, a lot of people from home, um, you know, in Australia, for example, most people tend to be in a permanent role before they come over to the UK. Whereas in the UK, you've got a very dynamic employment market that involves contract as well. Can you give us some sort of breakdown on how that works? What's the difference, and how does that work?
Sure. Okay. Well, um, the permanent employment, obviously, much the same as the home countries, in that you're there for the long term, and you're investing in your career, and your employer is investing in you, and probably professional development, all of those things, and you're moving up the career ladder, senior associate director, and being part of the running the business ultimately, if that's what you're aspiring to do. Whereas we have a very active contract market over here, which is more about resourcing, short-term resourcing of projects. So when a company has an unsustainably high workload, or maybe that they need an extra 5 people to deliver this project, but they don't want to hire 5 permanent employees for whatever reason, which might be they're not there to hire because there's a shortage of talent. But then they'll look at the contract market, and that's when you can come in and deliver a project. So whether it's 6 months or 9 months or whatever it ends up being, and work on an hourly rate basis. So the all of the benefits you'd receive as a permanent employee are wrapped up into an hourly rate, and there's a bit of a premium on top of that. So per unit time, you receive more, but obviously you're not getting the same investment in your career, if you like, but you are getting the experience. And for all intents and purposes, anyone looking into the office wouldn't see the difference in terms of what you're doing. It's just it's a different dynamic because you're there temporarily. But yeah, you get a bit of a premium for that, in terms of what you see in your bank account each month.
Yeah, and for somebody, let's say, we've got a lot of people come over with an ancestry visa, or a British passport even, and obviously they can slot right into a permanent role just as easily as a British person. But somebody with a holiday work visa with 2 years, I mean, are employers interested in them for permanent roles, or does it depend on the industry a little bit, or how does
it will depend on demand, certainly. I think what many employers would be keen to do is offer a fixed term contract if they were to employ the individual. So in that case, they have exactly the same contract as a permanent employee, and they're treated exactly the same way as a permanent employee. But there's an end date on the contract, which would align with the end of the visa. Probably what would happen in that circumstance is the company would look at how they could employ the individual in the long term, and it's likely that fixed term contract will become a permanent contract in the future. And through sponsorship, obviously a lot of particularly the bigger firms, are well geared up to sponsor people from outside the EU. But more typically, I think people who come over for the 2 years, more typically they will work contract, because at the end of each month you will have a little bit more money in the bank, and it gives you real flexibility. A lot of people who are doing that 2-year trip are going to go and travel and enjoy the nearby countries and travel within the UK. So nice not to be tied down to a 25 days holiday per year. Much better to be able to say, okay, we're coming up to the end of that project. I'd really like to take a month out to go to Italy or whatever it was, and that's what we'll do. Or it'll be the end of a contract. Great, that project's out of the way. Go and enjoy 4 weeks in Italy, and we'll line up the next job for when they come back, type of thing. So I think that often works better for people who are doing it. It depends on the circumstances, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Depends what you want to
and what
you want to do. But both options are there.
Yeah. Okay. Terrific. Yeah. No. Fantastic. Terrific opportunity in both. 25 days holiday is pretty fantastic in the world scene as well.
Yeah, over here you get 25 days annual leave, and you get 8 days 8 days bank holiday, which is not too bad, not too shabby at all.
Yeah, that's huge compared to some parts of the world. Yeah, terrific. And I want to, if I can, I want to put you on the spot a little bit in terms of the rates. And I mean, I know you you can really only just give ballparks, but maybe you could give us some idea in terms of sort of 2 to 5 years experience, 5 and over, or something like that for both contract and permanent.
Okay, absolutely. Well, I guess the range of people we're talking about coming over, so a grad plus one through to, I mean, occasionally I guess we'll talk to an associate director. But I mean the bands you talked about, grad plus 2 to grad plus 5, you're probably looking at between, depending on the discipline and the location, because again it's very, very broad, and any specialist skills. I'd say the minimum for grad plus 2 in a less expensive part of the UK would be maybe 26,000 per annum, and then perhaps in, say, London, in a shortage sector, maybe 30-ish, 32, something like that. And the plus 5 would be anything from 30, 31 to around probably 42, 43. In a more expensive part of the country, and where there's a shortage of talent. That would be fairly typical. Contract-wise, you're probably looking at maybe for that range of people, again, 2 to 5, you're looking at probably maybe 18, 19 pounds per hour through to probably 30 pounds an hour, something like that. More experienced engineers with specialist skills up to about 40 pounds an hour. And then on the tech side, I think realistically we're looking at it's probably late teens again per hour through to around 30 per hour for someone with maybe Revit structure. And on the permanent side, anywhere between early 20s and circa 40 for the good guys, maybe a little bit more if say a bit more experience, and again the rare software skills.
Mm-hmm. So that's for fairly specialist work by the
side. Yeah. I mean, it's a broad range, and we're talking about a broad range of disciplines and locations. So it's difficult to apply the range. But again, we're really, really pleased to talk to people. Great to talk to people. We can give them really good advice in terms of what I think it's a case of what do you want to achieve, and we can talk about how much of it we can get. Say at the moment, it's a great market. You can maybe achieve a lot of the things you want to do.
Well, and honestly, I think when you're talking about the type of experience that somebody's going to be getting while they're over there, like you that can't be beaten, in terms of, the experience you're going to be able to put on your CV. And if you come home with that experience, it's just fantastic and can take you to just another level in your career. I encourage people to come over and, just get that experience so that they can move forward with their career, but also get involved with some fantastic opportunities, some fantastic projects, and just a different work environment too, which is different culture, and obviously you get the European travel. But so I think we've covered pretty much all the important elements of the demand for people over there. But for somebody that was thinking, this sounds great, like I want to do this, what would be the sort of best things that they could do to make sure that they land the best jobs or put their best foot forward to make good things happen?
I think it's put together a good CV, resume, call it a CV over here, a curriculum vitae, which again we can give you feedback on the CV, and we will feedback before we present it to any clients. I think if you really want to get ahead of the game, you can create a project portfolio and include some written references from your previous employers. I think the portfolio and the references give tremendous confidence to potential employers. And then we've got the best possible opportunity to line things up for you early. And then, you to build a relationship with a good recruiter who knows the space really, really well. And again, we're all specialists at Ameda. We're 40 odd strong here in the UK, and we've got a specialist for each discipline and location. So we can represent you extremely, give you good advice, and then represent you the right way to our clients. And that's it. Good preparation, connecting with the right people, and you can achieve what you want to achieve at the moment. Definitely, it's there.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great advice. In terms of connecting with the right people, obviously applying through our website, for example, or even directly through your own website to jobs that are suitable. But then once you've gotten in contact, with somebody, would you advise them to pick up the phone, to have a chat, get up late at night or whatever it takes to make that happen?
Absolutely, yeah. We can get up early, or they can get up late, and no, absolutely. We really want to connect with people as early as possible. Whether that starts with an email, but yeah, as soon as possible. Let's get on. We've got great tools like this, like Skype. Let's have a video conference, build a relationship, start to understand each other, and take advantage of that, and let's connect as much as we both feel is necessary to get the desired outcome. But I think for me it's key to build a relationship. I mean, we're obviously as a recruiter, we're investing our time in, and we're representing somebody from a long way away to our clients who trust us, and so we need to have that relationship, and it's great we can do that over Skype, and then meet face to face when somebody's here, of course. But yeah, all of those things help build the confidence, which then enables the best opportunities to come to fruition.
Yeah, awesome advice. Thank you. Yeah, and so I guess just to wrap it up, I just wanted to make sure that people are putting their best foot forward. How do people get in touch with Ameda and make sure that they're getting put forward to the right consultant, and then good things happen?
Okay, I think anyone who's applying through, as you say, applying directly to a job will be getting through to the right person. There's of course the Work Gateways website and the link to our company profile.
Yeah, listen, thanks so much for your time, Alex. I really appreciate your wealth of knowledge, and you've got a lot of wisdom there as well. So I really appreciate your time today, and I'm sure everyone listening to this appreciates it as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Quinn. Really good to talk, and really look forward to talking to anyone who's watched the video.